All right, here we go. Standard 22. Now, Standard 22 is about the presidencies of Richard Nixon, Gerald Ford, and Jimmy Carter. So we have discussed both Gerald Ford and Richard Nixon, and we've kind of talked about the some of the distrust there. Especially, we led off with the war in Vietnam and went through the war specifically, but then Richard Nixon makes a promise to remove troops, then says, "Oh no, we're gonna, I think we should invade Cambodia." So we're extending the war. So there's some confusion there about what was promised and what comes to fruition. Uh, so that leads to some like, should we trust this guy? Is this okay? And then to top it all off, what we really focus in on is with the Watergate scandal. So the accepting of financial contributions to his campaign illegally, the use of the campaign funds to pay individuals to break into the Watergate office complex to gain information, the wiretapping, the tapes, everything involved led to Richard Nixon finally ultimately resigning after, really, from the break in to when he resigns is almost 2 years. So it's a long stretch of time. But during that stretch, there's growing distrust. And then when everything comes out and Gerald Ford takes over and then he gives Nixon a full pardon, then people don't trust Ford. And so whether it was something that was justifiable, connection, kind of guilty by association, or not, that is the reality that Gerald Ford came into his presidency at, knowing that it was an uphill battle. The positives with Richard Nixon, we mentioned how he opened up the relationship with China as well as the Soviet Union, kind of released some of the tension that was there between the countries. Now, it wasn't perfect, but it was that kind of first step, that handshake of saying, things have been bad. We're willing to work. Are you willing to work at this with us, and opening that relationship back up? Now, the overall kind of theme of this is some of the social tension in the United States as well as global tension. So that social tension there, you were having that societal distrust of the government, as well as there was a big push for women's rights movements, and so you had the National Organization of Women, known as NOW, and so that was the push for trying to get equality in the workforce and childcare reforms, and women having the choice to have an abortion was also involved in the 1970s, and Roe versus Wade. And so all of this is going on, societally. And so there's a little bit of tension there also. And then the Environmental Protection Agency emerges during this time. You had your first Earth Day. I know some of you probably remember that from elementary school, when you pick up trash or plant a tree or something. So there's that's kind of the idea that we need to take care of the one Earth that we have, and so there's a push for a way to do that, for everyone to pitch in and understand that it's a need, and the whole idea that we need to recycle. All of those things is all wrapped up into this early 1970s movement with Earth Day that has carried forward since then. The other part of this is the transition from distrust of the government